Good morning, everyone. Every day, when the sun rises, we are given a choice. We can drift through the morning, letting distractions control us, or we can take control of our mind and our actions. The way we start our day sets the tone for everything that follows. The morning is not just the start of the day, it is the foundation on which everything else will rest. How you begin these first hours can determine the energy, focus, and mindset you carry into every decision, every interaction, and every challenge that comes your way. When the sun rises, you are presented with a choice. You can let the morning pass by, allowing it to be filled with distractions, hesitation, or rushed thoughts. Or you can take control, intentionally shaping the start of your day so that it reflects the life you wish to lead. This first choice is powerful because it has a ripple effect. If the morning is chaotic, your mind struggles to recover, and your emotions are pulled by every small disruption. If the morning is disciplined, even slightly, your mind gains a quiet strength, and your actions become purposeful. Consider how easily a day can be influenced by the first moments after waking. If you wake up and immediately reach for your phone, scrolling through endless notifications, your mind is flooded with demands that are not yours, with opinions that may not serve you, and with distractions that carry over into the hours that follow. Your thoughts are no longer your own. By contrast, if the morning is approached with awareness, you begin the day as the master of your mind, not its servant. A few minutes of deliberate thought, a short walk, some breathing, or a simple moment of reflection can anchor your mind. These small acts create a pattern. They remind you that you are capable of guiding your day, rather than reacting to it. Over time, this repeated practice rewires your mental habits so that control and focus become the default, rather than the exception. That the morning also influence your emotions. If you wake up in a rush, feeling anxious, tired, or disorganized, those feelings can follow you for hours. You may react sharply to others, make poor decisions, or waste energy on things that do not matter. The opposite is also true. If you greet the morning with intention and calm, you create an internal environment where patience, clarity, and resilience can grow. You are better equipped to handle challenges, to respond rather than react, and to see opportunities where others only see obstacles. This is why morning habits are so crucial. They set the internal weather for the day, that even the physical body responds to the tone of the morning. Rising with purpose, stretching, or moving in some way communicates to the body that it is time to be alert, aware, and ready for action. The brain begins to associate morning with clarity and energy rather than chaos and distraction. By training yourself to greet the morning intentionally, you are building a body and a mind that work together, reinforcing focus and resilience. A disciplined morning encourages balance, and this balance carries through every hour that follows. Finally, the morning is a symbolic and practical opportunity to practice control over your life. While the world outside may be unpredictable, the first moments after waking belong entirely to you. They are a chance to choose how to think, how to act, and how to feel. Each morning you exercise this control. You are practicing a form of self-mastery that grows stronger over time. By seeing the morning as the seed of the day, and by treating it with care, you are setting a tone that shapes not just a single day, but a way of living that prioritizes awareness, intention, and resilience. Discipline is often misunderstood. Many people think of it as a chain, a burden, or a series of restrictions meant to limit pleasure or joy. They see rules and routines as something harsh, something that takes away freedom rather than giving it. In reality, discipline is the very foundation of true freedom. It is not about forcing yourself to do something painful or unpleasant. It is about training your mind and your habits so that you are no longer controlled by impulses, emotions, or external circumstances. When you are disciplined, you are free because your choices are no longer dictated by fleeting desires, distractions, or chaos. You can act with intention rather than react without control, without discipline. Life becomes a series of random events. You wake up late, feel rushed, and allow the day to push you rather than you pushing the day. You spend time on things that do not matter, or you follow the whims of others instead of your own reasoned decisions. You are a passenger on a journey you are supposed to be driving. Discipline is the steering wheel. It allows you to take control of the path you follow and to move with purpose rather than drift aimlessly. It creates the conditions in which freedom can exist, because freedom is not merely the absence of restriction. It is the ability to act according to what is best, not according to what is easiest or most immediately satisfying. Discipline is also a tool for clarity. When your mind is disciplined, you are not pulled in every direction by distractions or emotions. You see what is necessary, what is important, and what is within your control. You begin to act with intention, making choices that align with your values and goals rather than being hijacked by impulses or external pressures. This clarity itself is freedom because it prevents regret, confusion, and wasted energy. The disciplined mind can navigate challenges calmly, respond rather than react, and remain steady even when circumstances are uncertain or difficult. Freedom and discipline are linked because one without the other is incomplete. Without discipline, freedom is chaos. With discipline, freedom is mastery. It is the power to decide how to live, what to focus on, and how to act. It is the power to wake up and choose the thoughts, actions, and habits that will guide your day. It is the ability to face challenges without being overwhelmed, to delay small gratifications for greater benefits, and to act according to reason rather than desire. Discipline provides structure, but that structure is not a cage. It is a framework within which your life can expand, grow, and reach its full potential. Even small acts of discipline create freedom. Waking up early, committing to exercise, practicing reflection, or focusing on a task without distraction may seem restrictive in the moment. Yet these actions build strength, self-control, and confidence. The more you practice discipline, the less you are controlled by circumstance. The more your habits align with your intentions, the freer you become because you are no longer a slave to distraction, emotion, or indecision. Discipline allows you to live with purpose rather than drift through life. And in that purpose lies freedom. Discipline is not punishment for the mistakes of yesterday or the desires of today. It is the conscious choice to act in a way that strengthens your mind and body, protects your energy, and gives you control over the one thing that is always yours, your own actions. By cultivating discipline, you are choosing freedom. By practicing it consistently, you are training yourself to navigate life with resilience, clarity, and a sense of calm. Authority. Strength of mind does not come from grand gestures or sudden bursts of effort. It is not built in moments of chaos or when you are pushed to your limits. True mental strength is formed in the quiet, repeated choices you make every day. Small, consistent actions, things that may seem insignificant in the moment, accumulate over time to shape who you are and how you respond to life. Each choice, no matter how minor, leaves an impression on your mind. When these choices are guided by purpose and repeated consistently, they create habits that define your character, your focus, and your resilience. Consider how habits work in your mind. Every time you choose patience instead of anger, calm instead of panic, focus instead of distraction, you are strengthening a pathway in your brain. Your mind learns what to expect from itself. It begins to anticipate clarity, stability, and reasoned thought instead of chaos and impulsiveness. Even small actions like taking a moment to reflect before reacting, organizing your tasks in the morning, or setting aside a few minutes to plan your day are like tiny exercises for your mind. They may feel simple, almost too small to matter, but over weeks and months, their effect is profound. These small actions build a foundation that cannot be easily shaken by stress, surprise, or distraction. Consistency matters more than intensity. One act of discipline, no matter how powerful, is fleeting. A day of careful thought, of focused action, or of deliberate choice does not create lasting strength if it is not repeated. But when small actions are practiced consistently, they compound. They form a rhythm, a structure, and a sense of control. Your mind begins to expect structure. It begins to trust that clarity and reason are possible. And over time, this trust becomes second nature. You find that challenges that once overwhelmed you now feel manageable. Decisions that once seemed difficult now appear straightforward. Emotions that once carried you away now pass through you without disturbing your inner calm. Small, consistent actions also teach patience and resilience. The mind is trained not by sudden triumphs, but by persistent effort. Each morning you choose focus over distraction. Each evening you reflect on your choices. Each time you act with intention instead of impulse, you are exercising mental strength. These actions are invisible at first, and the progress may feel slow, but the effect accumulates in ways that are not immediately obvious. Strength of mind is like a tree. It grows gradually, quietly, and steadily. It takes time for the roots to deepen, for the branches to expand, and for the tree to withstand storms. The same is true for your mind. Repeated small actions create a foundation strong enough to weather any external pressure. The power of small, consistent actions lies also in their ability to remove chaos. Life is full of distractions, uncertainties, and unexpected events. When the mind is disciplined through repeated practice, it is no longer tossed about by every passing impulse. Instead, it maintains focus, clarity, and calm. Habits formed through small, intentional actions create predictability in your behavior. You learn what is within your control and what is not. You learn to act deliberately rather than react instinctively. And as your mind strengthens, your life begins to follow the path you have chosen, guided by reason and purpose rather than randomness and accident. Reflection and planning are not just tasks to check off a list. They are tools for mastering the mind. When you take the time to reflect on your thoughts, your actions, and your intentions, you are stepping back from the chaos of life and observing it with clarity. Reflection allows you to see patterns that might otherwise go unnoticed. You begin to notice the habits, reactions, and impulses that either help or hinder you. Without reflection, you drift through life as if in a fog, reacting to what happens rather than choosing how to respond. When reflection becomes a habit, your mind gains clarity, because you understand the reasons behind your choices and the consequences of your actions. Planning is the natural companion to reflection. Once you see where your mind tends to wander, or where your actions fall short of your intentions, planning gives you a way to act deliberately. A simple plan does not need to be complex or rigid. It simply provides direction. When you know what needs attention and in what order, you reduce the mental noise that comes from uncertainty. You no longer waste energy deciding what to do in the moment because you have already thought ahead. Your mind is free to focus on execution rather than hesitation, and your decisions are guided by reason rather than impulse. Reflection and planning also teach patience. Life often feels overwhelming when every choice seems urgent and every task seems demanding. By stepping back to reflect, you slow down the rush of immediate reactions and create space for perspective. You see that not everything requires immediate action, that some problems are smaller than they appear, and that some challenges are outside your control. Planning then allows you to allocate your energy wisely. You can focus on what matters most, rather than being drawn in every direction. This combination of reflection and planning brings a sense of calm, not because life becomes easier, but because your mind becomes steadier and more capable of handling whatever arises. Regular reflection also deepens self-knowledge. By observing your thoughts and actions, you begin to understand what drives you, what distracts you, and what motivates you. You become aware of your strengths, your weaknesses, and your tendencies. This awareness is power because it allows you to make choices that align with your goals and values rather than being controlled by habit or emotion. Reflection reveals the hidden patterns of the mind, and once they are seen, they can be guided. Planning then turns this awareness into action, creating a loop where insight becomes improvement. Over time, this loop transforms the mind into a tool that operates with clarity, precision, and intention. The process of reflection and planning is also a defense against chaos. Life is unpredictable, and events often occur without warning. A mind that has been trained to pause, to observe, and to organize its thoughts is far less likely to be thrown off balance. Reflection allows you to consider what is within your control and what is not. Planning allows you to act deliberately on what is within your control while accepting what is not. The result is a mind that can navigate uncertainty with calm and focus. Challenges still come, but they are met with preparedness rather than panic. Dirty and small moments of reflection and planning have lasting effects. Taking 5 minutes in the morning to consider your priorities, reviewing your actions at the end of the day, or simply pausing before responding to a situation can gradually reshape your thinking. The mind becomes less reactive and more deliberate. It begins to anticipate rather than be surprised, to act according to reason rather than habit, and to maintain focus even when distractions are present. Clarity and focus are not gifts. They are cultivated through consistent attention to reflection, and planning. The mind, like the body, needs training. Just as muscles become strong through repeated exercise, the mind becomes resilient through consistent practice. One of the most powerful ways to train the mind is through morning habits. The early hours of the day are quiet, free from distractions, and full of potential. How you use this time can determine whether your mind remains steady or becomes easily disturbed by the noise of the world. Morning habits are not about strict routines for the sake of rules. They are intentional actions that prepare the mind to face whatever comes, to act with reason, and to resist the chaos that life inevitably brings. Chaos surrounds us constantly, in the form of unexpected events, the opinions of others, and the endless flow of information. Without training, the mind reacts to these forces like a leaf in the wind, carried in every direction. Impulses take control, emotions dictate actions, and clarity is lost. Morning habits create a foundation that strengthens the mind against this turbulence. Even simple practices, waking up early, sitting in quiet reflection, stretching the body, or planning the day, signal to the mind that it has control. These acts are small exercises in mastery, repeated daily to shape how the mind responds to the world. Consistency in morning habits is crucial because strength is built over time. A single morning of discipline may feel good, but it does not create lasting change. Repeated mornings of intention accumulate in the mind, forming patterns of thought and behavior that are resilient to stress. Each morning you choose to act with focus rather than distraction, to reflect rather than react, to organize rather than rush. You are teaching your mind a new way to respond. Slowly, these lessons become automatic. Your mind begins to anticipate chaos and respond with calm rather than panic. Challenges that would have once caused frustration or confusion are met with composure and clarity. Morning habits also train the mind in self-control. By deliberately choosing how to spend the first moments of the day, you strengthen the ability to choose throughout the day. This is because the mind grows used to structure and intention. When a habit of calm reflection, focus, or preparation is practiced each morning, it extends into all areas of life. Decisions are made with awareness rather than impulse. Emotions are observed rather than acted upon, and distractions are less likely to dominate attention. A mind trained in this way is not easily shaken, and it can navigate even unexpected difficulties with steadiness. Another benefit of morning habits is the development of resilience. Life is unpredictable, and external events often challenge our plans and patience. When the mind has been strengthened through consistent morning practice, these events are less threatening. The mind has already been conditioned to act deliberately, to pause before reacting, and to prioritize what is within control. Even when the day becomes chaotic, a trained mind maintains composure, acts with reason, and avoids being overwhelmed. Morning habits create this inner structure, which acts as a shield against the disorder of the outside world. The simplicity of morning habits is also their power. They do not need to be long or complicated. Even a few minutes of intentional action can begin the process of training the mind. Repetition matters more than duration. Each morning, as these habits are practiced, the mind strengthens, focus improves, and the ability to resist chaos grows. The small, repeated choices of morning practice accumulate over time, creating a mind that is resilient, calm, and capable of facing whatever the day brings with clarity and purpose. Consistency is one of the most powerful tools the mind has to shape itself. The thoughts we repeat, the actions we take again and again, and the habits we practice daily gradually become the natural patterns of our mind. When we act inconsistently, our mind remains chaotic, uncertain, and reactive. But when we practice consistency, even in small things, we train our mind to anticipate, to reason, and to act with clarity. This is because repeated actions and repeated thoughts form pathways in the brain. The more a pathway is traveled, the easier it becomes to follow. Over time, the mind begins to operate along these patterns automatically, and decision-making becomes more precise and aligned with reason. Consistency is not about perfection. It is not necessary to act flawlessly in every moment, nor is it required that every decision be correct. What matters is the regularity of practice. By repeatedly engaging in deliberate thought, reflection, and purposeful action, you strengthen the connections in your mind that lead to clarity and control. Each time you pause before reacting, each time you focus on a task instead of giving in to distraction, and each time you act according to your values rather than your impulses, you are creating a new habit. This habit grows stronger with repetition. It becomes the default mode of thinking, so that when challenges arise, your mind naturally responds with calm focus. And the benefit of consistency is most visible in decision-making. Life presents countless choices every day, some small and some significant. A mind that is untrained or inconsistent struggles with these choices. It vacillates, is pulled by emotion, or becomes overwhelmed by options. A mind trained through consistent practice, however, develops a rhythm. It recognizes what is important, evaluates options without panic, and chooses in accordance with long-term goals rather than immediate impulses. Over time, decision-making shifts from a stressful task into a natural process guided by reason and discipline. The mind is no longer easily swayed, and confidence grows because past practice has proven its reliability. Consistency also rewires emotional responses. Impulsive reactions and emotional turbulence are often the result of a mind that is untrained and unpracticed. By repeatedly choosing calm reflection, patience, and focus, You are gradually teaching the mind to respond differently. Over time, emotions no longer dominate thoughts and actions. The mind learns that reactions can be measured, deliberate, and intentional. This rewiring takes time, but every consistent action contributes to it. A single moment of composure may seem insignificant, but repeated hundreds of times, it transforms the way the mind operates under pressure. Another key aspect of consistency is the development of self-trust. When you act consistently according to your principles, you begin to trust your own mind and judgment. This trust creates a feedback loop. The more you act deliberately and consistently, the more confidence you gain, and the more naturally your mind continues to act in alignment with reason. Consistency does not mean rigidity. It means creating reliable patterns that guide thought and action, allowing flexibility within a framework of discipline. It creates stability, and stability allows for freedom in thought, creativity, and action, because the mind is no longer easily disrupted by doubt or distraction. Small, repeated actions over time reshape the mind at its core. Every morning habit, every moment of reflection, every deliberate choice, and every act of focus is a thread weaving a stronger mental fabric. With consistency, the mind becomes structured, resilient, and capable of navigating complexity without panic. Thought patterns shift, decision-making improves, and emotional responses become measured. In essence, consistency rewires the mind, turning scattered impulses into deliberate action, confusion into clarity, and chaos into calm. Life is not built in a single day, nor is it shaped by sudden moments of greatness. It is created quietly, step by step, through the small actions we take every day. These actions may seem insignificant when viewed in isolation, but over time they accumulate into the reality we live. A single morning spent in reflection, a brief moment of focus, or a simple act of self-control may feel too small to matter, yet repeated consistently, these small deeds form the foundation of character, strength, and purpose. Every choice matters, because the mind and life are shaped gradually like a river carving a canyon over centuries. Small daily actions shape life because they create patterns. The mind learns through repetition. Every action you take teaches your mind what to expect and how to respond. If you repeatedly choose patience, your mind becomes patient. If you repeatedly act with focus, your mind becomes focused. Conversely, if you give in to distraction or impulsive behavior, your mind grows accustomed to chaos and indecision. What may seem minor today becomes the habit of tomorrow, and habits are the architecture of life. By attending to small actions consistently, you direct the flow of your life rather than letting it be carried away by circumstance. The long-term impact of small actions is subtle at first. You may not notice immediate change because the mind transforms gradually. Yet, each deliberate choice strengthens the pathways of thought that lead to clarity, resilience, and reasoned action. Over months and years, the cumulative effect becomes unmistakable. Someone who chooses calm over anger, reflection over reaction, and effort over procrastination will, without realizing it day by day, build a life characterized by stability, purpose, and self-mastery. Small actions are seeds, and life is the harvest that grows quietly from them. Small actions also shape the way you respond to challenges. Life is unpredictable, full of moments that test patience, strength, and focus. If the mind has been trained through small, consistent efforts, it meets these challenges with composure. It does not panic or react blindly, because it has been practicing restraint, focus, and intention every day. The effect is cumulative. The more small actions are taken consistently, the stronger the mind becomes. This strength is not flashy or sudden. It is quiet and reliable, forming the backbone of a life lived deliberately and with purpose. Even the smallest actions teach discipline and responsibility. Choosing to wake up early, plan your day, or pause before speaking may seem trivial, but these choices reinforce the understanding that life is shaped by action, not by circumstance. Each moment of intentionality, repeated day after day, strengthens the connection between thought and action. Over time, you begin to notice patterns in your life: how consistent effort leads to results, how deliberate reflection prevents mistakes, and how focused attention creates opportunities. Life becomes less chaotic and more predictable because you have built the mental and practical habits to navigate it. Small daily actions also cultivate resilience. By taking responsibility for the tiny choices you make every morning and every day, you train the mind to handle larger challenges without being overwhelmed. The mind learns that effort, focus, and consistency yield results. It gains confidence in its ability to act wisely and effectively. This self-trust grows gradually, powered not by dramatic events, but by the accumulation of small, deliberate acts. Over time, these acts reinforce each other, creating a life that is steady, purposeful, and resilient. The power of small actions lies in their simplicity and repetition. Each moment of focus, each deliberate choice, and each act of self-discipline quietly shapes the mind and life over time. The compound effect of these actions builds character, clarity, and purpose. What may seem insignificant today becomes the foundation of the life you live tomorrow, proving that long-term success and stability are not the result of sudden feats, but of the small, consistent actions repeated every day. The morning is the most powerful time of the day because it sets the tone for everything that follows. A disciplined morning is not about rigid rules or harsh routines. It is about choosing how you begin, and in that choice, creating control over your mind. When the first moments of the day are approached with intention, the mind learns to prioritize clarity, calm, and purpose. Each action taken in the morning, whether it is waking up early, reflecting quietly, exercising the body, or planning the day, acts as a signal to the mind that it is capable of focus, self-control, and resilience. Over time, these repeated choices create a mind that is steady and unshakable, capable of facing the challenges of life without being thrown off balance. The unshakable mind is not one that avoids difficulties or discomfort. It is one that responds to them with composure and reason. Life is full of uncertainty, sudden changes, and unexpected challenges. A mind that has been trained through disciplined morning habits meets these moments without panic, distraction, or impulsive reaction. Discipline teaches the mind to act deliberately rather than reactively. It strengthens the connection between thought and action so that decisions are made with awareness, not haste. Each morning that you practice discipline, the pathways in your mind for clarity, focus, and resilience grow stronger, making it easier to navigate difficulties throughout the day. Discipline in the morning also cultivates a sense of control. Without structure, the mind is easily influenced by external events, emotions, and distractions. A chaotic morning often leads to a chaotic day because the first hours influence every thought, choice, and emotion that follows. By contrast, a morning dedicated to intentional action gives the mind a foundation of order. Even small acts, like reviewing priorities, taking a few deep breaths, or completing a simple task early, reinforce the habit of control. The mind begins to expect stability and clarity, and this expectation carries over into all aspects of life, allowing you to respond to events rather than being swept along by them. Morning discipline also strengthens patience and focus. When the mind starts the day in a state of calm and deliberate action, it is less likely to be pulled in every direction. Distractions lose their power, and decisions are made with care. Repeated practice of these habits trains the mind to remain steady even under stress. Over time, the mind becomes resilient, capable of maintaining focus regardless of external pressures. This stability is what allows the mind to remain unshakable, because it is rooted in consistent, deliberate practice rather than fleeting motivation or willpower alone. Furthermore, a disciplined morning builds confidence in your own capabilities. Each time you follow through on intentional actions, no matter how small, you reinforce the belief that you can direct your day and your mind. This confidence compounds, creating a sense of mental strength that persists even when life is uncertain or difficult. A mind trained this way trusts itself and its ability to respond wisely, making it less vulnerable to doubt, fear, or distraction. Discipline becomes the scaffolding on which steadiness is built, and this steadiness is what makes the mind unshakable. The power of a disciplined morning lies in repetition and habit. Over weeks and months, these repeated acts, waking early, reflecting, planning, moving the body, and focusing attention, reshape the mind at its core. The mind learns to expect clarity, strength, and reasoned action. Challenges no longer feel overwhelming because the mind has already practiced resilience and focus in the first hours of each day. The unshakable mind is the product of daily choices, patiently repeated, quietly forming the foundation of a life guided by intention, self-mastery, and calm authority.